Call of Duty is constantly adding new things to their game, whether that's a skin or content. This is to keep the game's lifespan going forward, especially with skins. Despite the next Call of Duty game coming out pretty soon, they are still releasing new content through the item show. So stay tuned to today's video as we discuss the latest Call of Duty item shop release for Warzone and Vanguard, based around the Umbrella Academy. First up, we have Warzone and Vanguard add Hazel from the Umbrella Academy. Call of Duty have just announced that they will be adding Hazel from the Umbrella Academy to both Call of Duty Warzone and Call of Duty Vanguard. This will be in the form of a brand new playable operator to purchase within the item shop. Over the last few years, Call of Duty has become known for including some pretty crazy crossovers. They still tend to stay in their own lane when it comes to skins, but after the release of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, they started featuring a bunch of crossovers with brands and other IPs. They started to turn things into crossovers like how Fortnite have been doing for years now. For the addition of Rambo, McClane, the Terminator, Ghostface, and even King Kong and Godzilla, they have been adding crossovers consistently. This recent addition is pretty unique and one of the strangest added to the game. This is of course Hazel from the Umbrella Academy. Though the Netflix series is very popular right now, it's hard to imagine people jumping out of their seat to buy this skin, especially since this character is from the first season and hasn't appeared since. Nevertheless, it's pretty cool to see Hazel in the game as the character fits really well with Call of Duty. The bundle includes Hazel as well as his signature outfit with a pink teddy bear mask. You also get 2 legendary weapon blueprints and even a finishing move to go alongside the MVP highlight animation. Finally, the bundle also comes with 2 charms and calling cards. The character joins his counterpart, Cha-Cha, who was released in the game a few days ago. It was previously confirmed that these skins will not transfer over to Call of Duty Warzone 2, which is set to release later this year, so it's a little weird for them to release crossovers this late into Call of Duty Vanguard's life cycle. However, if you're planning to jump over to the other game, you probably shouldn't buy into these skins as you won't be able to use them for long. However, it's pretty obvious that Warzone 2 is going to have a bunch of skins at launch and even crossovers throughout its time. Please let us know down in the comments section below your thoughts on this crossover, and also tell us if you purchased it or not. And now onto some other gaming news from the last few weeks. Next up, God of War Ragnarok's accessibility features have been announced. With God of War Ragnarok coming out pretty soon, more gameplay has been shown off online. This came from YouTube as Game Informer got a lead and an interview with the developers. They also received a bunch of gameplay that has been released online. The brand new look shows some major gameplay level changes and settings that can affect everything within the game. These are mainly to allow anyone to play the game, as accessibility issues are something games need to improve on. Sony showed off these features, which seem to be based around disabled players or those who just want options. We have personalized subtitles and captions, a high contrast mode for people with differing sights, a way to resize the UI to fit your needs, and an auto sprint button for convenience, as well as much more. In addition to all of this, there is also automatic platforming and climbing sections that all the player needs to do is walk forward, then it will handle everything. God of War Ragnarok is also allowing players to adjust the timing of environmental puzzles by applying a slowdown if needed, so everyone can get these puzzles done regardless of who they are or if they have any disabilities. This means that if you need to activate one mechanism and trigger another within a few seconds, you can slow down time and stretch out that time to make sure the puzzle is more generous for the player. The input window will also be much wider, and progression walls would also be removed. They have also added the ability to auto pick up items and health, which is perfect for those of you who don't want to run around and pick up certain things, or those who can't see them. There is also an added clarity mode where you can enable an on-screen controller visualization to allow the camera to track key objectives on its own. Here's what a lead developer had to say on this edition. Accessibility features are not just accessibility features. As Pavlin puts it, they also help to improve the experience for everyone. Ragnarok is about moving into the next phase. For us, that meant including more people, making sure that people can customize more, and making sure that it's a comfortable play experience for everybody. God of War Ragnarok is shaping up to be something phenomenal, and we can't wait to use these accessibility features. Despite many of them being used for disabled players and those who can't see so well, a lot of these features are also just good for convenience. Auto run, auto grapple, and auto pickup will probably be used by most players, as it will will make the game a smoother and better experience for everyone. We can't wait to see this game release in a few months, and also see even more gameplay within the next few weeks as Game Informer release more clips on their social media. Let us know down in the comments section below your thoughts on God of War Ragnarok, and if you're going to buy it in November when it releases. Finally, we have, is the Nintendo magic fading away? Nintendo have always been a massive part of the gaming industry, as they led multiple generations back in the day with amazing games and outstanding development. Nintendo were the ones people needed to compete with, and they led the march into multiple next-generation systems. From the Nintendo 64 to the Nintendo Wii, Nintendo completely owned the market and made everyone else follow in their footsteps. It wasn't until around a decade ago when Nintendo really started to fall off and other competitors took over the market. Sony and Microsoft released their own massive systems to such worldwide success that for once, Nintendo had to compete with another company. The release of the GameCube wasn't too hot, and at the time was seen as a decline for Nintendo. To compete, a few years later, they released the Nintendo Wii. This, of course, is one of the biggest systems of all time and sits in the top 5 for the most sold games consoles ever. Literally everyone owned a Nintendo Wii in some shape or form, or at least used one at family events. We all know just how popular this thing was, and it really helped Nintendo stay in the market during those years. Many years later, Nintendo are definitely still a massive part of the gaming market, but are nowhere near as popular as they once were. The Xbox and the PlayStation are definitely where it's at, with PC gaming also being even more popular than ever. This is mainly because of these three systems have become much more widely accessible and share games between one another. Of course, a good amount of the console market is made up of exclusive games between Sony and Microsoft, but the vast majority of games nowadays release on both consoles and the PC around the same time, if not on the same day. This is where Nintendo are at fault, as they have stuck to first-party games with a very limited range of third-party ones. This means it's really hard for them to compete, as Nintendo are a very specific company. They produce specific games for their own system and do not share IPs with anyone else outside of the Nintendo ecosystem. This means that you won't be seeing Legend of Zelda or Metroid on the PS5. Whilst this is good to keep their IPs within the company, it's not good for sales, as they don't get as much money as everyone else. Nintendo are on the decline, and the magic is fading away. The Switch is still doing super well, with releases like Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and Metroid Dread over the last few years. However, even with the new announcements and games releasing soon, the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo themselves just can't keep up with Sony and Microsoft. After the Nintendo Switch's life cycle is over, we could definitely see a massive change with Nintendo, as they might end up allowing the games to be released on other consoles or the PC. Nintendo are definitely a massive part of the gaming industry, but are nowhere near as big as they used to be, and it's really sad to see. This massive titan of the industry has fallen, and the magic is gone. And that's the end of today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this latest video. If you did, would you please let us know down in the comments section below? It would be very helpful. Make sure to like the video, comment down below, and of course subscribe to the channel with the notification bell rung. Thank you for watching today's video. Bye.